Guys, how are you?
Hey,
Hi there.
good. How are you?
I'm doing great. To start, I love first Louisa, I love seeing this girl kind of just start in her power right out the gate, and we don't have to kind of go through the, for lack of a better term, rigmarole of seeing her figure it out. She kind of starts it, and we're on this journey with her. For you, what was it like having a character that does have this power, but is also like struggling with very real human issues on the side of it?
Yeah, it was amazing. And sorry, I'm just trying to think how to, yeah, it was amazing. And getting to she's strong in her personality as well as physically strong. And she needs both of those skills, I think.
Yeah, Nick, you get to use your comedy chops even more in this show than in your past work. And it's very fun to see you be this little guy who's just kind of there trying to guide her when she refuses to listen to him at times. When you get to kind of be more comedic and be like the voice of reason, do you get to find those moments where he is funnier? Or is that something that like it's just in the script and you get to just amp it up?
It's a bit of both, really. I think sometimes it's quite evident when, Billy is delivering I guess a punchline, or is the thing he's saying is sort of deliberately, I guess, comedic. But often, what's nice about the Nell Billy relationship is that I think sometimes, they're a bit of a double act, really, and they kind of go together. And sometimes Billy is the straight man and the voice of reason, and it's Nell who is sort of kicking off, or has kind of got the kind of more kind of comedic sort of side to that. And then sometimes it's sort of flipped, and it's Billy who is sort of the one who's acting up and getting in the way. So it's a nice sort of, I guess it's a bit of a dance and a bit of a balancing act. But yeah, it's certainly nice to kind of bring comedy out in the role, definitely.
Yeah, and for both of you, how is it, you know, this is not only set in a completely different time, but it's also a magical thing. And it's also like there's a bunch of different layers to it, but they do have a very real, fun little dynamic with each other because she needs him. And so for you, what of getting to build that together and understand how these two characters kind of coexist?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose that's testament to the writing, really, because we never worked together
Yeah.
in person. And yeah, I was such a big fan of Nick, and so I actually found that quite frustrating not to actually be able to work in person together. But like we said, it made it all the more magical when we get to see the two characters on screen together.
Yeah, I mean, likewise, was a huge fan of Louisa's. And I was really lucky because my stuff was shot after they had shot a lot of their stuff, so I got to see a lot of Louisa's takes and stuff as a reference. But we're never physically on screen together. They were filmed completely separately, months apart sometimes.
Yeah.
So we got to rehearse together for one day, half a day, really, and do some voice tests together. But other than that, we were kind of having to sort of trust that the other person was
Trust the
gonna kind of
process. Yeah.
trust the process a little bit. And that's why it's been fun to watch it back and sort of see that there is a dynamic there which sort of doesn't really exist, does it? It's sort of an illusion, really.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it's fun.
And Louisa, you do get, this young girl is also trying to be a bunch of different things within her own family, especially in that first episode. For you, when you were approaching a character, is it important for you to kind of navigate exactly where she is with all of those other actors, or is it just kind of you having tunnel vision for that specific scene in question?
We were quite lucky, we did film this quite in chronological order. We started with episode one, two, three. We kind of went we got to film it in order because a lot of times when you're filming stuff, sometimes you're filming a bit of episode six in the morning and then four of an evening. So that was very, very helpful. And yeah, I mean, I've the scripts were so brilliant, the sets were so brilliant. I had such brilliant co-stars that yeah, everything just fell into place.
And Nick, well, now I have a question for you because you were saying you were by yourself. Is that like daunting to kind of be almost more solitary because you're the character you interact with the most is not actually there? Or do you find it that it's a freedom that you get to kind of you're working with yourself, but also with like a reference point?
It was daunting to a degree in that I knew, once I'd seen, knowing the scripts were brilliant, but then once I saw the kind of production value behind the show, and not just Louisa, but the brilliant, cast around it. I knew I was filming all my stuff towards the end. I was like, oh goodness me, I'm sort of like, it's mine to lose really, because everyone is so good in the show. So it was daunting to a degree, but then yes, there is, and look, we had so much support with the directors and all the VFX team and the stunts team who I was kind of working closely with, to sort of make sure that it kind of felt right, and we had enough time as well to sort of make sure that it was there. I would say that to a degree we were slightly finding it as we went, because some of the technology was quite new. We were sort of still working out kind of how Billy would sort of move, and so yeah, it was daunting to a degree, but also a fun challenge as well, and like nothing else I'd really ever experienced. So I was sort of just like, oh wow, this is fun.
Yeah. And for last quick question, this show is unique in a lot of ways, but it also kind of fits into that genre of like things like Labyrinth and Willow and all those things from like when I was growing up that are fantastical and slightly kind of historical, and they live in this fantasy world. Do you guys have a favorite of that genre that when you were in this, you were just kind of like, I'm finally in my version of blank?
Oh, yeah. See, this isn't really the fantasy, that type of world. That's not usually the shows that I would watch.
Whereas I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Lord of the Rings. I mean, Labyrinth. God, the
Well,
number
yeah.
of times I watched Labyrinth. I mean, I adore that. So yeah, but I've not inhabited these kind of worlds before, really.
No, no.
Yeah, it makes me very happy to see this because it's almost a lost art form for kids because like I said, we all grew up with Labyrinth and the Jim Henson movies. They don't
Yeah.
really exist that much anymore, and so it's really nice to see a show that kids and adults can kind of go to and really enjoy. But thank you guys so much for talking with me. I really appreciate it, and I
No,
can't wait for people to get to see the series.
Thank you
oh,
so
thank you
much.
so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks.